This is Beer in Front, part of the Odd Pods Media Network. Sometimes the beer in front of you is the best one yet. I'll talk about some old school beers that maybe you've forgotten about, some new beers that have the potential to be a classic. I'll also talk to various people around the beer world and get their stories all about beer. That's Beer in Front, and it's coming up now. Welcome to episode 182, the October 16th edition of Beer in Front. I'm your host, Dave Zalatoris, and Beer in Front is a proud Odd Pods Media Network member. On this episode, I talked to Mark Strong from the Syracuse area about the breweries in that region, and we also had a fantastic Pilsner from Suarez Family Brewery. Mark sent over a few more of their Pilsners, and I'll have those later on in the show. With Oaktoberfest winding down and Christmas beers already coming out, I'll have the Oaktoberfest from Firestone Walker as well. If there is a brewery from your region you would like more people to talk about, send me an email, dave@beerinfront.com, and I'd love to hear about them. There's going to be 2 shows this week, not one, but 2. On Friday, I'm going to have a special Sober October episode, and I'll review some different hop waters, a hop tea, and a non-alcoholic beer as well, if you're participating in Sober October. If you didn't catch last week's homebrewing episode with Julia Herz from the American Homebrewers Association, have a listen. The pale ale I brewed will be bottled sometime this week, and I'll review my beer along with some other pale ales once that one's ready. In beer news this week, Molson Coors is buying back $2 billion in stock, effective immediately, and this is going to be executed over the next 5 years. Don't get me started on stock buybacks. Don't get me started. Hockey season started last week, and Jackalope Brewing out of Nashville is coming out with a Kolsch in celebration of the Nashville Predators' 25th anniversary. Revolution will be releasing 3 beers from their Deep Wood series on Friday the 20th. You could pre-order on their website starting Tuesday the 17th. The Ramova Theater will open in Chicago in November, along with the brewery tap room featuring beer from New York's Other Half Brewing. I'm really excited about that. And the owner of the building that houses the brand new Guinness facility in Chicago just opened up, brand new. The owner of the building is selling it. So if you've got a spare $20 million in your sofa cushions, you could be the landlord of Guinness. Okay, welcome back. I'm happy to have on my friend from the Syracuse area, Mark Strong. We're going to have a beer from Suarez Family Brewery and talk about beer out in Syracuse. Mark, what's going on today, sir?
Hey, Dave. Good to see you again. It's been a while.
Yeah, been a few months. I think December.
Yeah. It's one of those gorgeous fall days out here. So it's perfect day to have a delicious Pilsner and talk about beer. So it's great.
Yeah, the weather's beautiful here too. That perfect late summer day where you could still wear shorts.
Yeah. It makes a huge difference.
What started you off into being beer person you are?
Yeah, I mean, it's I think like a lot of people, it's my dad. My dad was got into Canadian beers, which living in upstate New York is not weird, but I grew up in the shadow of Genesee Brewing Company, and that's what everyone drank. And my dad got into fancy Canadian beers, and by fancy, it was Molson and Labatt and Moosehead and stuff like that. But it was different, and so my dad was always adventurous. And then when I went to Germany the year I turned 16, and that was kind of it. My dad was let me off the leash and let me enjoy beer over there. And it's like, oh, okay, this is a thing I'm going to get into, and really have never looked back.
Yeah, I think, once you've been there, especially at such a young, impressionable age, you're not going to have a Jenny unless, there's really nothing else to have.
Yep. Yeah. And I've had my share, but you
Yeah.
definitely always go looking for something else once you've kind of experienced that and gone. Beer can be really different and really interesting. And, you drink a Hefeweizen or something like that over there and go, this is not anything I'm used to. Yeah. It just definitely set me off on this path. And, here I am a lot of years later and still on it.
Mark and I were talking, a couple weeks ago when Off Color put their waddle out with the glass, and we were going back and forth. And I sent him an Off Color and then a sour from Moore. And Mark graciously sent me over a couple from Suarez Family Brewery, and we're going to crack open the Palatine Pils now. From hearing you talk about this, I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's their Pilsners are really they're second to none in the U.S. in my opinion. They're just they're perfect. I mean, and there's other perfect ones out there. Don't get me wrong, but just from everything they do, the color, the head's always great. They're just beautiful beers.
Yeah, I mean, it looks great. As I was pouring it, the aroma hit you right up front. You just had that nice, clean malt smell. It smelled great. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is one of 4 or 5 Pilsners.
Oh, yeah, that's really good.
Yeah.
That's just like the perfect beer. You get a little bitterness on there, not a lot, but like enough to know that it's there. It's just well balanced, super clean. God, this is fantastic.
Yeah. And it's, some of the others I sent you. So I sent you the Palatine, Qualify, Cabana, and I forget what the fourth one was. But Palatine and Qualify were kind of the first two they really got known for. And at least around here where it's a couple hours away, but at least around here where we get it pretty regularly, you're either, you're team Palatine or team Qualify for the most part. I bounce back and forth a little bit. It just, depends on the day, depends on where my palate is. But I think overall Palatine is probably my favorite of the main ones they have.
Yeah, like this, I could drink this every day. Like if I would have this would have a permanent spot on my beer fridge. This is just excellent.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's, I think you'll find with the rest of them, I mean, you won't find an off flavor anywhere. They're all great. And, I think one of the things that's impressive is if you were to, drink another one, and kind of do them side by side or do a few of them, you go like, yeah, this is also a really great Pilsner. Different flavor, different level of malt, different level of bitter, but they're all that really clean, really just well balanced, and exactly what you want in a Pilsner.
Well, I'm not going to drink all 4 of them tonight because I have to go pick my wife up from the airport. But after we disconnect, before I put this show out, I'm going to have the other 3 you sent, so I'll have like a more in-depth review of the other 3. Because if they're half as good as this, I'm going to like them.
Yeah, no, I haven't met anyone who likes Pilsners that doesn't like them. So yeah, I think you'll be in good shape. It's they've been kind of one of my go-to, like, hey, I want to go drink some beer this weekend, or I'm going to take half a day off from work and go enjoy a nice day and drink beer. And they're in that, just a touch over 2 hours range. And so it's the perfect, let's take an afternoon, go drink some beer, bring some stuff back. Cause friends are always going to want it. You say you're heading to Suarez and you start getting texts of like, hey, can you get me some of this and some of this? And, as it works in the beer world. So it's a regular stop.
Now, from their website, it looks like it's a pretty small operation, mom and pop. Do they distribute it all, or is it pretty much you have to go there to get it?
No distribution at all. I mean, you will see it. You'll see drops occasionally, and you'll see some bars in the area that will have it on draft. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty much only from the brewery, which is why we've got a regular rotation of 5 or 6 friends that are out there. So there's always some in the fridge, or their wilds and sours are fantastic. So my shelf has a whole lot of Suarez beers that sitting around for a while.
How long have they been around?
It's at least 10 years at this point, because okay. I know they've been around for a while, and said Dan Suarez and his wife, started it and run it, and they've got a pretty small staff. But Dan actually, came up from Hill Farmstead. So Dan worked with Sean Hill at Hill Farmstead and struck out on his own. And, this was his first stop to do his own thing. And, he's really he's nailed everything I've ever had from him.
It's been in a past life. My in-laws lived kind of in the Newburgh, Goshen area.
Yeah.
And I remember, like, this was 15, 20 years ago, the only craft beer you could get, like Saranac, was all over the place. And what was Ithaca Flower Power, maybe?
Ithaca Flower Power. Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yep. It's still around.
Okay.
It hasn't actually changed much. It's still, I had one not that long ago. I was like, all right, this is still, an early, 2000s IPA, kind of when the IBU wars were kicking off. And, they're still around. That area has gone crazy with some great beers. So you got Suarez, you got Plan B, which is not too far away, which is all wild, all open fermentation, mostly regional stuff. So they do great fruit beers. So between those two, you can get all the wilds and sours and different fruit beers you could want. Sloop has its roots. So, Sloop, Juice Bomb gets pretty regular distribution. They have their roots. They were originally just a few miles from Suarez. They've since moved, down, a little further south, closer to Equilibrium.
Okay.
But, you could really make a day of, Suarez, Plan B, Sloop, and Equilibrium, and have just pretty amazing selection, across some great IPAs, pretty early hazy stuff with Equilibrium and Sloop, and then, hit all the wilds and sours and the clean beers at Suarez.
Yeah, I think Equilibrium's the only one that distributes here to Chicago. So I know that one I've had before and it's pretty good. Like the ones you mentioned, are there any others? Like if somebody were to, come into town, any others that you would recommend people try to hit up?
The other one that's making really big waves, and again, it's a little further north of Suarez, but it has been just a huge reputation. If you like IPAs, is Fidens.
Okay.
And they're just, they used to have a line around the block when they dropped a beer. They've gotten their production up a little since then, so you can actually go in and get beers. But if you like, the IPAs as they stand right now, which I do at times, but it's not what I drink a ton of anymore. But every one of them has been delicious. Like they haven't had a miss yet of the 8 or 10 I've tried. So, up and down that Hudson Valley, you've really got a pretty good run of styles and selections.
Would you say like the hazy still probably the most popular one in the area?
Oh yeah. I mean, it's and the other one, different part of the state, but still, same region, is we have Mortalis, which is out towards Rochester, and they're on the other end of it. They're, say this nicely because it's not a style I care for, but they do the fruit slushies, like the real heavy, fruit thick beers that I don't love, but their stuff moves like crazy and people go nuts for it. And I long ago moved into the don't yuck someone's yum camp and try not to say anything bad about someone's choice, but not my thing. But they're just a huge presence.
One of the ones that I sent you, Mark, did you get a chance to try that mango sour from Moore?
Not yet. So
okay.
I have a regular Thursday night beer share with a group of 2 to 5 folks that come over. So I'm saving that to share it with multiple people, because that's one of the things we love about sharing beer is, hey, here's a thing you're never going to have again. So let's spread this out. So I will crack that one on Thursday.
Yeah, because I'm kind of the same way, like the 450s of the world. Hey, if you want to drink it, God bless you, but not my thing. But
no,
Moore puts out a lot of good stuff. And I'm like, mango and chili, like a tahini. All right.
Yeah.
I try that. Then the place I go to, the bottle shop, you could buy singles, so you don't have to commit to a 4-pack or whatever. So I grabbed a couple and I'm like, no, yeah, this is pretty good. You get that nice, like, chili powder at the end. It's not strong.
Right.
I don't think it's something I could have 4 or 5 watching a football game, but one
Right.
every now and then, it's not bad.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to trying it again. I like to explore. You can't be afraid of new stuff because I mean, heck, 8-10 years ago, I was afraid of anything with fruit. If you put a fruit beer in front of me, I wasn't going to touch it. And now, some of the wilds that have fruit and things like that are some of my favorites. The stuff I really look forward to. So, you gotta try it to know if you like it or not.
Yeah, I remember the same thing back during the IBU wars, probably 8-10 years ago. I met some people and they were talking about Gozas and stuff like that. I'm like, no. Let me have this 100 IBU pallet wrecker,
Oh, yeah.
Now, give me all the Gozas now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Goza is one of those styles that, especially summertime, we got a pool out in the backyard, like sitting by the pool on a hot day. I mean, they're perfect. And, I can't do the shandies. They run a little too sweet for me, but the Gozas have all the, all that tart citrus that I love, and they're super refreshing. So yeah, I'm all in on those.
Yeah. And they're lower in alcohol. So you could sit outside by the pool or, out on the grill or whatever and have a couple of them and not be hammered.
Right. Yeah. Which you can't do with most of the IPAs that are out there.
No.
As much as my tastes have changed, I definitely seek out, like, I'm looking at labels, like if it's, 5 or below, I'm probably going to give it a whirl because that's what I'm after now. So I shop by ABV, opposite of a lot of people. Like I shop for low ABV and.
If you were to make a mix pack of beers to send somebody from your area, what would be in your mix pack outside of Suarez? Obviously.
Yeah. I mean, yes, Suarez would be for sure. There's sorry, my dog just went bonkers. So there's a local brewery here, called Buried Acorn. That's a favorite of mine. And I was really pretty happy. They actually got a really nice mention at the Great American Beer Festival day one. It was I think it was Porch Drinking that put them in there as like a pleasant surprise, one they hadn't heard of. So they're doing some really, really good stuff. They do a grisette, which I love. That's 3.2%. That's but it's a barrel aged grisette, so it's really nice and sweet.
Oh, wow.
So I put that out to almost anyone I can put it in their hands. So they're a big part of it. Plan B that I mentioned, their base beer, their barn beer, is just this beautiful, wild with some good funk to it. That I'd probably put in anyone's hands and go, this is, if you want to know what I'm drinking, this is it. And then, there's some other good ones. Syracuse is, it's an okay beer scene. But there's a place in Rochester, not too far down the road, called Strange Bird, that is doing some really great stuff. And they've done a couple of different Saison variations that I absolutely adore. So I'd probably throw one of theirs in there. They did a pink peppercorn Saison right when they opened, and it was just delightful. That pink peppercorn played with the flavors in Saison that I love. So wow. I'd probably round it out with one of theirs.
I'm trying to think. I think the last time I was up there was probably right around this time of year, maybe closer to the World Series, and we did the whole Cooperstown experience, which was a great drive, especially in the fall when all the leaves were turning. It was spectacular. What's with Umagang? Are they still going strong out there?
Yep. Yeah, they're still doing really well. They've had some personnel changes, so some of their stuff has dropped off a little bit in my estimation. But it's funny you mentioned them. They just released a nitro Three Philosophers in a can, and Three Philosophers is one of the Belgian beers that, obviously not from Belgium, but one of those, that style that I grew to love early on. And so I'm actively in the hunt for some of that Nitro Three Philosophers, because I still love it as a beer. So yeah, they're still doing really well. They make a Creek that I absolutely love. So they got their Super Creek that they release that's just delicious. So yeah, they're still doing really well. Like everyone else, they had to branch into an IPA that it's fine. But you got to have one for people to show up. So but yeah, they're still doing really well.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta pay the bill, so do whatever you can to keep the lights on.
Yeah, and they actually have a really nice amphitheater, so they get some pretty good concerts.
Okay,
so you can go out and tour the area during the day, and then catch a show at night. They have a campground attached to it, so if you want, you can set up a tent and have as much beer during the show as you want, and crash and do it again the next day.
I mean, that would probably be, I don't know, if that would be right up there, and New Glarus of, brewery tours. You've been to one, you've been to them all, but those two, I think for me, have stood out. Like, these are ones I would definitely do again, because I thought the brewery tour there was killer. It was such a great time.
Yeah, and I've done both. I would agree with you. The other sneaky one that's a really good tour that I throw out there, and further away from here than you want to get to in a day necessarily, is Trogs.
Oh yeah.
So down in Hershey, Pennsylvania, just a great tour, beautiful facility. I've been twice, which says a lot.
Yes.
And the people are really knowledgeable. So Trogs is another sneaky good tour. And a surprisingly good brewery with way more stuff than people see. Yeah,
we don't get a lot out here. I know the Beard Ale podcast, Lauren, she's from that area. So she's sent me before some Bad Santa stuff that, we can't get here. And that's everything I've had from them has been fantastic as well.
Yeah, they do a really good job. And you see some of their, even here we see some of the same 4 or 5 beers. You get down to the brewery and there's a dozen that you've never heard of, and they've all been good. So it's a great stop in the general area.
Yeah. Well, Mark, I can't thank you enough for this. This is so good from Suarez Family. I'm looking forward to. I'm half tempted to tell my wife to take an Uber home so I can have the other 3 tonight, but I'll wait a couple days and kill off the other 3. But this is just such a great Pilsner.
No, I'm glad you like it. And if you feel otherwise about the other 3, I'd be really surprised. They're just they're so good and so well made. And you think if they can do one like this, the rest of them are going to be good, and they are. So I'm looking forward to hearing the rest of them.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, thank you again, sir. I will talk to you later. I'm sure we'll see each other on social media and send some more beer mail out.
Yeah, sounds good.
Hey, you there. We've got a question for you. Are you tired of clickbait stories and the loudest voices driving discussions in culture and entertainment?
If so, I'm Dylan.
I'm Kendall.
And I'm Corey. And we host the podcast From the Middle. We're middle-class guys living in the middle of America, in the middle chapters of our lives with points of view somewhere in the middle.
We take a more reasonable and centrist approach in our discussions covering genres like comedy, culture, entertainment, and interviews, with really interesting folks like business owners, comic creators, doctors, news anchors, New York Times best-selling illustrators, professional stand-up comics, and more. We really value a relaxed and conversational podcast, one that we hope is so fun and laid back, you'll forget you're not actually hanging out with us.
So search at From the Mid Pod, just like it sounds, or check us out everywhere you can find podcasts.
When you're done listening to this show, head over to From the Middle and check them out. Always a great show. All right, the next one up from Suarez Family Brewery. This is Cabana Pils. I know nothing about it. It says nothing on the can, but Mark says it's good, and I believe him after the first couple I've had from Suarez. So let's crack open Cabana Pils. Oh, this looks really nice as well. Good, very pale color. Looks very nice. Good foam. Yeah, aroma's good. Rock solid aroma here. I really like this. Yeah, that's another one. It's just a great Pilsner. Very crisp, refreshing. Like the others, I get a little bitterness at the end from the hops, which I like. I think this is just killer. Like I would drink this would be in my fridge every day, or at least one of the pills from them if I lived nearby. I think this is really good. Yeah, it's weird. I don't know what hops they use. Maybe a little bit at the end. I almost get like maybe a little lemongrass. It's got like a little citrusy at the end, and that could just be, me. But no, I think everything about this is a winner as well. So if you're in that area, you need to go pick you up a Cabana Pils from Suarez Family Brewery. All right, the last of the beers from Suarez Family Brewing is Qualify Pils. If it's half as good as the other ones, I'm going to be happy. So let's bust it open. Another great color, really light, pale color, good foam. Yeah, that just has that classic Pilsner aroma. Smells great. God, that's really good as well. But I need to move. I got to go out to upstate New York. I need to move. So I don't know if anyone lives out there and, wants a roommate or something. You can get 3 of us. You'll have myself, Ruby, the dog. But I'd be drinking these every day if I could. This is just really good, nice flavor, very crisp, good. Not a lot of hops, but you know that they're there when you're drinking it. It just tastes delicious. Yeah, that's outstanding. This would definitely either any of the 4 beers that Mark sent over, I would have in the fridge every day if I was able to get this and lived out there. So if you're anywhere in their area and you could pick up something from Suarez Family Brewery, I would definitely put them in the cart. It's that good. If you like Pilsners, if you're tired of being on the hop train and you want something different and you're out there in New York, you got to go to Suarez. They're great. And thank you once again to Mark for sending these over my way. All right, the beer I want to talk about this week is from Firestone Walker. This is their Oaktoberfest. This is an oak age lager, 5.2% alcohol, 20 IBUs. I'm looking forward to this. I like everything Firestone Walker puts out. Oktoberfest is winding down, so I figured I'll have one more for the road here. So let's bust open the Oaktoberfest. Oh, the Oktoberfest is a nice color. It's almost color-wise in between the Fest beer and the Marzen. It's a little darker than a Fest. It's a little lighter than the Marzen, but good color here, good foam. Smells really nice. I get all those nice Oktoberfest malts. A little bit of the wood, not a lot, but it smells delicious. Oh, yeah. That tastes more of a Marzen-like. Very nice, very smooth. I do get a little bit of that oak at the end. It's a nice touch to the Oktoberfest style. I think it's delicious. Good malt flavor here. It's a very, I don't want to say robust, but it's like a richer tasting beer. I think this is very good. I wish I would have saw this when it came out earlier. I would have grabbed some more of these. So if you're around and you still see some Firestone Walker's Oaktoberfest around, definitely put this one in the cart. I think it's a really good Oktoberfest style beer. Well worth drinking. All right, that's going to wrap things up for this edition of Beer in Front. I want to thank my friend Mark Strong for coming on from the Syracuse area and also for sending over those great beers from Suarez Family Brewery. Don't forget, Friday, I'm going to have another episode out this week, a Sober October episode, and I'm going to have a lot of different non-alcoholic beverages, mostly hop waters, but I'm going to have a beer and a hop tea as well. So stay tuned for that on Friday. If you'd like to get a hold of me, you could email me, Dave@beerinfront.com. If you want to support the show, head over to patreon.com/beerinfront. I thank you very much for listening. Have a good couple days. I'll talk to you in a couple days on Beer in Front. And remember, sometimes the beer in front of you is the best one yet.